guest, Mr. Saviour Mifsud, a Maltese citizen living in the Faroe Islands. Thanks, Saviour, for accepting our invitation to share your photographic journey in the Faroe Islands with us. On Monday, I had a long and interesting chat with Saviour, and I'm sure that this evening you will relish Saviour's photography and be captivated to visit this unspoiled and unexplored territory, which is situated in the Atlantic Ocean, northwest of Scotland, and it is between Iceland and Norway. After last week's annual general meeting, the 7 members sitting on the MPS Executive Committee met and discussed the roles and duties of each and started planning the program for 2022, discussing the importance of teaching and learning and other activities of photographic value. May I announce that the new role of Vice President is now taken by Ms. Pauline Grech and the role of Premises Manager by Mr. Alexander Kutaya. The other members sitting on the Executive Committee have been approved to keep the same role. Once again, I thank Mr. Joe Attard and Mr. Johan De Bono, who, for personal issues, opted not to submit their nomination but pledged loyalty and assistance to the new committee and will continue giving their contribution where help is needed. I thank each and every member sitting on the Executive Committee who are eager to voluntarily work and assist in the management of the Society. I invite you, members of the Society, to keep abreast to this Society and involve yourselves in the upcoming activities, courses, competitions, and other initiatives taken by the Committee. In the coming days, all those who participated in the 56th National Competition and Exhibition of Photography 2021 in the print section will be notified when they need to collect their prints. I ask for some patience and cooperation. Thank you. Now I'm going to share with you a PowerPoint presentation showing the latest news from the Society. Afterwards, I hand the floor to our guest speaker, Mr. Saviour Mifsud.
Bla sound, tastiera, ma mhux normali.
Għandkom raġun, my fault. Għandkom raġun, sorry. I forgot to share the sound. Thanks. I hand now the floor to Saviour. I open your mic, Saviour. Okay.
Hello? You are hearing me?
Yeah.
Okay. So shall I start?
Yes, please, Saviour. Thank you. You
Yeah.
can share the screen.
Yes. There we go. Okay. This one over here. Okay, so my name is Saviour Mifsud. I am from the small village of Imjar, Malta, but I've been living on the Faroe Islands for 15 years now. What I'm going to talk about today is who I am, how I ended up living on the Faroe Islands, because I guess many of you have that question. How I started with photography, what gear do I use, planning, shooting on location and editing, what softwares do I use, and how I made how photography ended up from a hobby to a part-time job, and how I generate income from my photography. And then if you have some questions, we can answer them after or in the middle. You just let me know. So, like I said, I am a 35-year-old from Imjar, Malta, but I have been living on the Faroe Islands for 15 years. I have a full-time job as a salesman and a purchaser with a food and beverages company, and been working with them for 13 years now. I have been doing photography since 2013, but that's when I bought my camera, my first DSLR camera. Main reason was because of my kids. You know, I wanted to take better pictures. The phone wasn't enough. Um, so um, so the main reason I started like going out in nature was because my ex-wife left me, um, and I had, you know, because I live on the Faroe Islands, I had only my kids, so I had a lot of free time. We changed like 1 week with me and 1 week with her, the kids, and so I had a week where I didn't know what to do actually. So I decided to get out and to take pictures because I always liked the sunset light and the morning sunrise and stuff like that. Um, so yes, that's what I said here. So yeah, the main reason is because of my kids I'm here, and right okay. So my first few when I was starting learning photography, I of course made a lot of mistakes, like everyone else. Like for example, as you are seeing my screen, right, Stephen? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Saviour.
So as you can see here, for example, the horizon, I was at the Slataratun here, the highest peak of the Faroe Islands. This was it was in September, and it was about 10 p.m. here in the evening. But I liked, you know, I liked the adventure. I liked the thing that you can go, from you finish at 4 o'clock work and you drive just a few kilometers and you hike for maybe 45 minutes and you see a view like this. This made me want to explore more of the country. So, for example, I don't know why this is like this. Something went wrong here. I was supposed to show you here the gear, my gear. The first camera I bought is a DSLR Canon EOS 1100D. It's the cheapest one I could find. And I bought Sigma lens, 10 to 20 millimeters, for ultra wide angle to capture as much landscape as I can, and an ND filter to make a long exposure. The image on the right side, Fundingur is called, also captured in September. As you can see, the grass is still green, and you can see like some lines in the ocean here. It was a bit windy that day. I liked how when you take a long exposure, I like how the clouds, you see them kind of moving, and I like the idea of it. So that's what I liked to do in the beginning mostly, and I tried it, of course, many times in different conditions. The one on the left side is the same thing. I finished from work, and in January it's not much light, so I just go and take my a few minutes and capture images like this. On the right side, this is a gorge, a natural gorge. The village is called Jeg. Gorge is Jeg in Faroese. And same thing, a long exposure. I like to do this a lot. I realized that if I had to capture better images and better quality images, I needed a more stable tripod. So I bought this Manfrotto tripod. This one is a heavy one, it's 2.5 kilos, but it's very steady and sturdy. So no shaking, and it can handle more wind. And I like this. It has like a something here that you can put your bag on it, so it can be even more heavy. And then I bought a telephoto lens, and the main reason for that is because I had only like a wide angle lens, 10 to 20 millimeters, and the standard 18 to 55 millimeters. I didn't have any zoom lens, and I wanted to capture some detail, and that would be not only wildlife, but like sea stacks, for example, and I also wanted to try a long exposure with a telephoto lens, and that allowed me to capture on the right side the sea stacks. These are very famous, Raisen and Chettlingen, they're called. This is the kind of landscape I wanted to capture with this lens, to get the sea stacks closer as possible to fill up the frame. And wildlife, because of the puffins, Meechiness Island. We have an island in summertime. It opens at in April until end of August, and that's when the ferry starts sailing every day for 2 or 3 times a day. And you need, if you want to go there, you need to prepare yourself. You need to have always good clothes with you, because you never know what kind of weather you're gonna get. And it can also be that the puffins, when you arrive at the island, that you will not see puffins, and you need to be a bit patient because sometimes they go out at sea and then they come back in the evening, for example. That happened to me sometimes, not that often though. The picture in the middle, we have many lakes around the islands, very small ones, and some of them big. You just like you're driving and you see a lake. Where there is a lake, there is always many birds, and some of them are swans. This one is a famous one. You can't miss it when you come to the Faroe Islands. You land at the airport and you drive to the main to the capital city, Tórshavn. This is on the way there. So, and you will notice it straight away because of the cabin and the waterfall behind it. It's like kind of an iconic part. So my planning before I go out to a location, I use many apps, but the most important one for me is this one, Windy, and it's because it's the most accurate one that there is at the moment here on the Faroe Islands. It's rarely that the weather doesn't match, so this is why I use it. For example, if I wanna go shoot, I can see maybe tomorrow is gonna be windy. Then I can say, okay, then I can choose a location where there is a lot of waves. And if it comes from the west side, I choose a location on the west side, and so on. If it's rain, then maybe I can go shoot some waterfalls. So I have many options when it with any kind of weather condition. Then the second app that I like to use is Sunseeker, and this is of course to check where the sun is gonna set or where it's gonna come up. For example, the airport. This is the airport island, and actually they say that Malta is the size of this island, Vagar Island. This one here, this is the biggest lake, and this is the second biggest lake on the islands, on all Faroe Islands. But this one, Tranøypa, the lake above the ocean, they call it, it's located over here. So I saw that the sun will come up at this time and will go here. So I thought, okay, I would like the sun rays to come and hit this cliff over here, like it did here. So I have to start, for example, I wake up at 8 and I eat, I drive, it takes me about 40 minutes to drive over there, and then I have another hour walk. So at 9, maybe 8:45, I start walking. And I go out there, and this is the result of what I captured that day. You're gonna notice going forward a lot of images that are cropped, and the main reason is because I crop them ready for Instagram. I am very active on Instagram, on the social media platform, and this is the format I use to share my images. Photopills, probably most of you guys know it. I use it mostly for example, if I want to do some time lapse or if I want to take pictures at night. And Moonseeker, I use it also to check where the moon is gonna set then.
Saviour, I unmuted you by mistake. Sorry.
Unmute.
Sorry.
That's all right. Okay, and the Moonseeker is very good to. I use that one because I bought it. Actually, I bought it before I found out about Photopills, but I use it a lot also. So yeah. Aurora, we have northern lights in the Faroe Islands, and that is probably it happens often, but because of the clouds, we have a lot of rain and clouds. We don't see it so often, and maybe sometimes when it's active, I have the kids, or I am at work or something like that. So, or I have some occasion some point. So it's not many times a year I get to photograph the northern lights, but it did happen sometimes. And as you can see behind me, you can see it so good because of the light. But that one is one of my favorite time I captured the northern lights. And there is a lot of planning behind northern lights, as you can imagine, like where your location. And normally, just a few tips for you guys, if you probably most of you know, but um, when it's cold, like we had yesterday evening, there wasn't so much clouds. So more cold it is, less clouds will be. And that's the right time to go. But you need to prepare yourself. You need to have the headlamps. You need to have good tires for the car, so you don't crash or anything, because it will be slippy. And the people that put salt on the roads, they don't work, of course, at night. So there can be some parts that are very slippy to drive. So that is always like you need to be careful for that kind of stuff. If you come and try that. So example with the waves here. I checked the app, Windy app. I saw that the wind was coming from the west side. Gatsadalur, this is one of the most iconic places on the Faroe Islands because of the waterfall and the village and the mountain behind it. And it's actually my favorite places of all Faroe Islands. This is my favorite. I always go here first to try some new conditions. So I saw these big waves. By the way, to guess like how big this cliff is. This is around 30 meters, and it was like half. So these waves were like 15 meters easy. And where I was a bit lucky because I could go there because it was windy, but there was like a small there was like a wall, so I could keep my camera steady. I didn't have any tripod with me that day, so I had to bump the ISO up to 800 and to try and capture a steady image, because it was too windy and all that. So the first image up here is Kallingur. It's a very small, tiny village. Probably there are like 2 farms and 2 or 3 houses, and that's it. This is captured in November, and as you can see, it was very windy here. So it was a nice idea for me to. I captured this before, and I thought it would be really nice to capture this when it's very windy and you see like the spray of the ocean coming up. And that was the goal, to capture all this, and it happened. Jake, this is the same village as the gorge, the image, the green image that I showed you in the beginning. It's located in the same area. And there is this cabin here, very famous cabin on Instagram. And I wanted to capture it with a big wave. And I checked the same, the windy app, and saw where the wind was coming and the waves, and that was the right place and time to go and capture it. Here are a few more examples of waves and storm. Here at Gasadalur again is the same village. The wind was coming from a better direction for the water of the waterfall going up. So extra drama for sure. The waves weren't as big because it wasn't the same direction, but to capture the waterfall going up is also a nice element. this one here, these are the sea stacks that you saw in the beginning, with the sunset, but from the opposite direction. They were captured from a small village called Chotnovik. It's a famous village because of its beach. It's a black sandy beach, and from that point of view, you will see these sea stacks. And it was a very windy day. Actually, here I was with my son. We went for a road trip to see these big waves, and we were just in the car actually. And I opened just the window and I put my zoom lens on, and I captured this kind of images. What is also very important when you go and capture images in a storm. It's raining or it's windy, so spray comes up. When it's stormy weather here, the wind, the rain comes from any direction. So there is a little chance to to not get droplets on your lens. It's impossible. So I always have a cloth with me. Sometimes even two. I clean it up as often as I can. And then some sunset examples. Also, I check on the Windy app to see where the opening for the blue sky is. And for example, the one on the right, it's called this is a sea stack called Dunnestrenkar. It's not as famous as the other sea stacks, but it's becoming one also. This is probably because it's a bit hidden. Not many people know the location of this one, but it's close to the airport and it takes about an hour of walk to go over there. And of course, I checked also with the app Sunseeker like months before to see where the sun hits exactly those sea stacks. And this was in September, no, in March. If you go in March or in September, you will see the sun over here. And yeah, so yeah, it takes about an hour to get there, and it was very cold. That's what I remember for sure, because after this moment lasted maybe 10 minutes. Then the hail started falling from behind us. The wind was coming from behind us that day. So also, of course, we were very careful here to not make the wrong step. And we were, maybe you don't see it so much, but here we were like about 2 meters away from the cliff. So then there is the image on the left, Saxon. This is a very famous village. The main reason, probably because of the church. Then there is a lake. I don't know if you see it so good here, but there is a lake here. And then there are mountains all around, and the waterfall right here. It has a beach, and this one all the way out here, you can walk all the way out to the ocean. And to walk it all the way out, it takes about 30 minutes or so. But that also needs some planning. You need to because of the tide, it goes up and down. So you need to check when the tide is. For the sunset here, I checked also for the opening, and this is the result of that sunset that day. So a bit of planning makes totally different images. Also, I recommend about Saxon. There is a farmer that owns probably more than half of the land that is here, and he gets very angry when people step on the grass. So the image looks very clean, but I cleaned it up with Photoshop, of course. I removed like there were like spikes over here, not spikes, so he has horses around the area, and for the horses to not get out, they have this like kind of a wire he makes, like kind of a fence, yes. So yeah, I cleaned it up, the image a bit. Drone photography on the left side. I have a drone. When I started with drone photography in 2018. This one is very recent, August. Also planning over here. I was at work. I finished at around 4 o'clock. I went home to eat, and then I started driving. This was about 10 o'clock, 10 p.m. in the evening, 10 p.m. So I had some time on my hands. But before that, you will also see it later. I took some pictures from a village, and it was the same day because I knew that it was gonna be a really good sunset because of the opening that you see here. I could see it on the app, the opening, and when an opening like this happens, you can say that the sky is gonna turn red, and that's what happened here. So the one on the right side, it's a sunrise, and it is in December. I really like to go to this location. This is a very famous cliff. It's called the Trotlakonfinger. It translates to the witch's finger. This one. November, December, and January is a very good month to go for sunrises over here because the cliff, like you see here, it turns like this, red. Yeah. And then there are the spring and summer. I really like spring and summer. One of the main reasons I like spring and summer is that I don't need gloves. It doesn't get that cold. So I can instead of I have to do like this all the time and go with my gloves, and I don't have the right gloves also, so I need to buy a new pair soon. This one, the first one on the left side, you see the flowers. I wanted to make the composition as slow as possible with the flowers. So here I used a tripod actually, and I didn't write what f stop it was, but I think if I remember right, it was F8 or F11 to get like the village sharp also. This wasn't so much planning. I had it was in the weekend, and when it's a weekend, I just go road trips and just walk around the villages, and I ended up being there, and the light was really nice, and that's what I got. And same with this one. There wasn't so much planning on this. It wasn't during the weekend, so I when I don't have the kids, I always go out and take pictures in the weekends. This one here, it was on the 30th of June. I was actually with two Maltese people here. Chris Borch, he's a photographer, and his girlfriend, Charlene, if I remember right. It was really funny actually. As you can see, there is a lot of fog beneath us here. And you can imagine that the villages, they are covered with fog, and you can't see anything. Like, you can't see 10 meters away from you. When that happens, it doesn't mean that everywhere is like that. If you go like on top of a mountain, it will be clear like it was this day. But of course, that also depends. I have learned these past few years now that I've been like keep on track on the wind and where it will be not foggy and all that. So a bit of planning also with that. And if after a few years, you will learn a lot about this. So I told Chris, let's go to a mountain. I'm gonna take you to a mountain. And he said, why we're going? It doesn't make any sense. There is no chance we're gonna see anything. I told him, let's go try. And we did go. And halfway, before we started the last few meters up the mountain, it started clearing up, and they were so happy to see the light. because we had actually 2 days with fog in Toroshaun, and it was always like that for two whole days, and sometimes it can be even longer, but that time was 2 days. So we went up there, and this was around 11:30 in the evening, 11-ish, something like that. And we stayed there for a long time and captured, because the longest day of the year is the 21st of June, and so we have like from beginning of June until end of July. It doesn't almost get totally dark. It stays like dark bluish at 1 o'clock in the morning. So that was pretty hard in the beginning to get used to, actually, because at 3 a.m. it was bright. The sun comes up and it's like totally orange, and I couldn't sleep. So I had to buy myself a curtain that was black, totally black. The light doesn't come in. These are the images that I took before the drone, before this one. So I went to a village very close to the airport, 10 minutes away by car. And first I went on the right side, this one here. These are very, very famous cabins because of the view that they have. And actually, the owner, I know the owner, the name of the website is called The View, literally, because of the sea stack, Drankarnir, and the islet, Tolmor, and Mykonos Island. This is the Puffin Island, actually, this one here. So there are many, many good locations on one island, the airport island, that is called Vagar Island. And this one is like 5 minutes walk away from the first one. And this is like 2 minutes away from this one. So as you can see, there are many, many possibilities in just one village. And there are many more images that you can take, and you can take images like this, and you can imagine that most of the villages in the Faroe Islands, they all have turf rooftops. So there are many possibilities of take images of grass rooftops and with amazing views. Midnight sunset. This wasn't a midnight sunset, but it looks kind of the same as a midnight sunset. This was around 10:30 in the evening, 24th of August, on the highest mountain of the Faroe Islands. It was foggy in the evening, and I thought, okay, this is a nice. I have experienced it before, and I thought we should go there. It was me and my girlfriend. We went up there, and we went in a good time. So we took our grill with us. We made some sausages and we took some coffee. It was a really nice experience, and we stayed there until the sun went down. And when the sun goes down in summertime here, it's not like Malta. It's not like it gets dark after an hour or so. It stays like blue for a long time. So we weren't afraid of going down the mountain at all. To go down the mountain, by the way, it takes about 40 minutes or so. So it's not that long. Here are some more examples of drone photography. This one, the one on the right, is the islet Tintolmur. It's and this one is also Tintolmur, the islet, and that is this one here that you see over here, but from over here. To fly all the way up there from the road, the drone was 3.5 kilometers away from me. But I wasn't afraid at all that day because it was calm, no wind, and so it's perfect for a drone to fly with no wind. The one on the left, it was raining a lot. Maybe you don't see it, but it was raining a lot. But the wind, there was no wind, so I wasn't afraid either. I do have some practice with it now, so I knew what I was doing here. And maybe you tell me later about restrictions, or if you can fly everywhere on the Faroe Islands. But of course you can't. This one here, I was like 7 kilometers away from the airport. The airport is somewhere in here, somewhere behind all these clouds. So the drones these days, they tell you like this is the like where the aeroplane lands. This is the route. So if you are higher, when you go out this way, if you are higher than 60 meters, the drone will go down 60 meters. You can't do anything about it. It just goes down 60 meters. And the first time I experienced that, I was so afraid. I thought my drone just became crazy and it's gonna fall soon. But that's, you know, you learn by doing. Huh? And if you try to fly the drone uh, like a 2 kilometers radius from the airport, the drone will not fly. And if you are flying like 3 kilometers away from the airport and you go into the 2 kilometers, you can't go in because the drone will stop. So it's pretty safe. But of course, I took the license for the drone, so I can fly a drone that is 1.5 kilos. And of course, to fly in a village where there are people, you need to have insurance because you never know what can happen, and you need to tell the police, because if someone reports you, you know, they tell the police. The police say, "Oh yeah, we know about that guy. He told us yesterday." And of course, you have to tell them 24 hours before. And this is what I have learned 1 year ago about this. So of course, things can change. Winter conditions. Snow. Maybe you think that that snow is very often on the Faroe Islands. Actually, it's not. We were very lucky last year. We had 3 weeks in January last year. This year we had 3 weeks of rain and storm. So when it's snow, I take the opportunity and see if I can go out and go shoot, because you never know how long the snow will stay. So these are like very spontaneous tours. Like I was supposed to be at work in this one here. I told my boss, I'm sorry, I have to go take pictures. He knows how I am, and he knows that I work. I'm gonna, work overtime next time. I told him, I'm sorry, boss, I'm leaving. And he said, yes, it's okay. So when you work with the same company for 13 years, you have like some good connections. So this one on the big one here, with the cliffs, these are the same sea stacks. So you can see that these sea stacks, you can capture them from many directions, many perspectives. I was on an island called Kalsoy here. I was actually on this island, Kalsoy. It's very famous for, I don't know if you see it, but there is a lighthouse over here. Probably when you saw this island, this picture, color lighthouse, it is called actually. If you someone of you wants to Google it, you will see many with green grass and very very nice summer weather. You don't see so much with winter conditions. So you turn on the right side and you see this, and the background picture actually that is behind all this, it is also from this island, Estroy Island is it called, but on the other side, on the left side. And this is just a village. I was in the weekend driving around, was snow. I was driving everywhere and taking pictures of villages. And at sunset, I ended up being here at Kvivik. It's just like 35 minutes away from where I live. The first image, this is a village that I really like for snow conditions and for summer sunsets. I was at work actually here. I made a year driving, delivering milk and so on before I became a salesman. This was in 2018, if I remember correctly. No, 2017, sorry. And I was at work. I delivered the milk to some shop over here. I always had the camera with me. No matter what, I take the camera with me when I drove. Because I drove for a whole year out, so I had the camera with me, and I just captured a few images, and I went to the next stop, next shop. This one here, the one with the sunset, is the largest village, no lake, sorry, on the Faroe Islands. It's also on the airport island. And I had a day off actually that day. And I just made a whole day just driving around also. So I started early in the morning. Well, early, it's not that early. It was like 8:30, 9 a.m. So it doesn't, of course, we don't have so much light at the moment. So that's when the sun comes up. And that's what I managed to capture here. That day was perfect. I had a lot of images. Very productive day. And the one on the right, the Highland cows of Scotland, we have them also here. And they are always. This is the Puffin Island, Meechiness. I did quite a lot of photoshopping here. There's a street over here. I went as low as possible so I could take the street off. And the snow helped me a lot here to clean the image up. And also there was a barrier. The barrier, I removed it also. Because it was snow, it was much easier to clean it up. So you don't see it so much. You can't tell that there was a road over here. So and this is a village. This house is in a village called Velbasta. It is just 10 minutes away by car from where I live right now, from the capital city Tórshavn. And this was just a nice evening, and I went there to take pictures. As you can see on the road you see there is a snow and it's like frozen. That is why in winter time we have different tires, like with spikes, so the car doesn't slip. So about what softwares do I use? And probably most of you know it. Bridge is where I sort my images and where I back up also. Lightroom, where I edit my default settings that I use. I have presets, but every shoot that I do, if I go in the morning somewhere, I edit that, by myself. And if I go in the evening somewhere else, I will not use the same settings. That's what I mean. Then I go to Photoshop when I edit the normal images, the normal settings. I go to Photoshop and I do some contrast adjustment, and I go to Nick Collection. That is a plugin on Photoshop. It works as a plugin on Photoshop, so I do it over there, and there I like to fix the white balance and the a bit of contrast also again, and the noise reduction. And then after I do that, I sharpen with Photoshop. I used to sharpen with Lightroom, but I like to sharpen with Photoshop. I see that Photoshop is a bit better with the sharpening, in my opinion. Of course, everyone is different. Pategui, This one is a software dedicated to panorama images. Like, for example, the image behind over here, I stitched it with Pategui because I had over. I took this panorama with my telephoto lens and I zoomed in, and I took, like, I had the tripod and everything. I took the like, I had like almost 40 images, I think. So this image can be huge, and Photoshop started crashing and all that. So I did some research and I found this one, Pategui, and I learned some tutorials about it, and it worked perfectly for me. So since then, I tried it also. It is very good to stitch panoramic images taken with a drone, because for example, it has a new feature in the drone, that it can take 360 degrees images, and when you take half of them, in my opinion, what Photoshop did, it started to get a bit, crazy. Also Lightroom. So Patagonia worked better for me. This is how it looks. This is another example. This is an image. I think I had over 30 images here. Photoshop couldn't, it was crashing, and Patagonia fixed it already. And then I exported it as a PSD file, large PSD file. I put it in Lightroom, made the adjustments, and then I put it on Photoshop, and the same same system that I use. This is my first drone over here, Maverick Pro. When I buy drones, I always buy Fly More combo. Of course, it's because the drones, they have only like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to 30 minutes battery life. So that's not enough for people like me that go out on a mountain and then I can't recharge straight away. So 3 batteries is a must for me, and you get extra stuff with it, with a car charger. So when you are on the go, when I'm on a road trip, I can recharge the battery straight away instead I have to come home, of course. The 750D, I upgraded to this camera. It's not a full frame, it's a crop sensor, but I wanted my camera to be faster. First of all, I wasn't thinking so much about the megapixels, but this was a 24 megapixel camera. The first one was only 12 megapixel camera. And this one helped me. I was really into shooting action. That can be wildlife, that can be people, sports, and also surfing, mostly surfing. And I didn't put it on here, but I also bought a gear for diving. It's not expensive. I don't remember the name right now, but it was the cheapest I could find. It's not like a hard case; it's a rubber case also. And actually, I don't use it so anymore because the rubber case is totally damaged. And I used it a lot when I was in Malta, taking pictures of my kids when they were swimming. I bought a lighter backpack. This backpack is perfect. This is the one that I use still, because it has a good space. I could open from the back instead of from the top only. And this is the one that I travel with also. When I go to Denmark, for example, I take the laptop, everything fits in here. I bought a small lens, 50 millimeters. The main reason for this lens, I bought it because of my kids, to take portrait pictures. I don't have a lens that goes down to 1.8. So my lenses, they are like 3.5 minimum. So yeah, that's why I bought this one. Then I bought also a polarizer. Polarizer, I bought it mostly because in summertime here, when the sun comes out, it's like everything, you don't see so much. The colors, they don't pop anymore. So that is why I bought a polarizer to take all the glare from the colors. Like for example, the blue sky reflects on the ocean. It doesn't look as dark blue as it's supposed to be. Or the green grass, it looks more like light green instead of that dark rich color. And I bought a new system for my photos, my files, my videos, everything that I use. It's very very important, and I learned late. I used to buy these small 2 terabyte hard drives, and suddenly it stopped working. And I had all the photos in there, and I had a few clients that wanted pictures, and I couldn't give it to them. And everything was set up on the website, everything, and I was totally going crazy about this. But there was one software that helped me. It costed me a bit, but I got all the images back, and it's Skysoft, if I remember correctly. So from then on, I said, okay, better invest in a good backup. And I bought this. Actually, I bought it from Malta. It's from Scan. It's a Synology DS418. Probably now I bought it in 2018, so there are better systems than this one now. But this one, I still have it. It's right here, and I still use it. I just need to buy. I have only one slot full. It's a 8 terabyte hard drive, so I have 3 more slots. Yeah. So these are the pictures that I took with the first drone. The first drone has only like 12 megapixel camera, but only to see the image from up there, it's like it's a new thing. You get motivated. You want to try different things. That's what started happening to me. And also the editing. I didn't do the editing the same way as I do with the camera, of course, because it was only 12 megapixel this one. So I kind of saturation and all the slides, instead of going like 30%, I go maybe 15. So I don't like use so you don't see like it is fully edited. And these are just it was a nice experience to try it out for the first time and seeing it with your own eyes, on the screen, with these kind of conditions from up there, bird's eye view. And of course, you learn by mistake also. The first image here, this was actually it was coming a gust over here, a blizzard, and a few minutes after, I know I crashed my drone, because it was too windy. And I had an app, and it showed me that it's only 8 meters per second, the wind. So when I took the drone license, you learn, about wind direction, and Faroe Islands is known for the high cliffs and mountains, and then you have like big valleys, and all that makes that the wind speed changes. So you need to keep that in mind also. So now I use, like for example, this is the first weather app that I use for my drone. It tells you like straight away if it's like 11 meters per second, it will be green. If it goes up to 12 meters per second, it will get red. And when it's red, you don't go. But of course, you still like be careful, like you feel the wind yourself, and you will probably know after a few times trying, like I did. This is also a weather app, but I don't use it as much as this one, but it's helpful sometimes. And this one is the first app that I use with the DJI, the first one. This is for the DJI Air. It's a smaller drone that I have that came out last year. And it's as good, even better than the one that I had, of course. So now this is my current. This is the drone here that I have. It's a 24 megapixel camera. It has. It is more robust. It you know when you have it under control, it is more sensitive. So yeah, the same thing. I bought it fly more, so I have 3 batteries, and you get also ND filters with it. So that is very no sorry, not ND filters. It is polarizers with different thickness. So that helps a lot when you are flying. A new tripod, because now I'm thinking more lightweight. I want to go in places where I haven't been before, and the places that I want to go, they are like 3 hours hike. So I need to wear as light as possible. And this is like the bag that I am still using, the one that I showed you before. I bought faster SD cards. I figured out that is much. I had a problem. This is the mirrorless camera that I bought last year. It takes 10 images per second. It's not a full frame. It's a cropped, and I bought this adapter, so I can use my lenses that I have, the ultra wide and the telephoto. And I bought this one here, the 256 for the camera, and it is very fast, so I don't have to wait a lot. And the same with this one. This is for the drone. I had only one that was 16 gigabytes, and it wasn't enough. So when this one, the 24 megapixel camera that the drone has, it's not it gets full straight away after a few shots. So this is the photo on the right. This is the lake above the ocean still. There are, as you can see, there are many different perspectives. Every perspective that you see, it's an amazing photo every time you just turn your drone a bit, or even with the camera. The one on the right is taken with the old drone, actually, and I have a story about that. We hiked up the mountain. This is the same mountain as the lighthouse image that I showed you, the Kaldur lighthouse on Kalsoy Island. There is a mountain, you just go up 500 meters straight up. And we arrived there. It wasn't windy when we arrived up, but it was very cold. And we went up there. It was me and another photographer from Switzerland, a friend of mine. We met on Instagram. He wanted to fly the drone there, and I told him maybe it will be windy. But he had the DJI Maverick Pro #2, and the #2 can handle 17 meters per second, and mine can handle only 11. So I wanted to try anyway because I was up there. The light was amazing, and I wanted to try. So I flew the drone. I took this exact picture, and after I took this picture, the drone just went up 150 meters up, and I couldn't do anything with my joystick. It was by itself. So I was thinking a bit. The wind was coming from this side. This is the west side. It was hitting the wall here, the cliff, and the wind was going up. So what I needed to do is just go more on the left, and then it went down. So that's how important it is to keep a check about the wind also. Some summer conditions. These are both summer conditions. This is the islet Tintolmor with some fog. This is just a composition that I took. I thought it's cool with the peaks of the mountain. It looks like some kind of a dinosaur. And this is one of the fjord, actually. Toroshan, I live behind here somewhere. This is one of the many fjords that we have. It was totally no wind. it was perfect weather to fly the drone, and that's how the green, green gets the grass over here. Some more examples. These sea stacks over here, they are close to the lake above the ocean. The lake above the ocean, the biggest one, is over here somewhere. So yeah, you can see also the nice detail of the rocks and the sea stacks with the new drone that I have. This is also with the new drone. This one actually I made it a bit different. I took actually 3 pictures and I stacked them together in Photoshop. It's a new technique that I'm using now. I stacked the images together to reduce the noise from the image, and I did that because the water was moving so fast, and I tried it and it worked fine. So the image on the right side, this one, this is the most time I flew far with my drone. I flew 7 kilometers here away, and it was no problem at all with the drone. But of course, when I flew the drone here, I was like, okay, there is no wind, it's perfect. I go and try this spot today. Because of the green grass and the small lighthouse, I thought it looks pretty cool with the fjord, and this is another island. And the light could have been a bit better, but it works fine. It looks like I used a long exposure, but it was so calm that it was like all the ocean around the island was like a reflection. It can be also tricky though, because for example here, I didn't have any problem, but I noticed because of this is another sea stack here, but you can walk on it. There is like a small trail. And I flew the drone. I went to fly the drone between here, and I was standing somewhere over here. So when I flew the drone down here, I took the drone down maybe 20 meters or so. It lost connection, and when you lose connection, the screen turns black. And of course, you need to make sure when you fly the drone that you can navigate, return to home, the button return to home, so it comes back automatically if something like this happens. So it said like it's gonna return home by itself, and then when it gets connection again with the remote, the screen you can see again, and you can adjust yourself. So that's the thing to keep in mind. Like when if you go too, there's so much rock, you can't see it. The connection will not be good. So why I use I think that it's very important to use social media, even if you are just starting. You're using photography as a hobby, just to pass your time. It's much better to start straight away than you don't start, because also, for example, for me, it was important to do that because I wanted people to see it first thing, and I wanted feedback, like from followers, and I started to get that, and I got more motivated to go out more, to capture more images, and to get maybe better ideas. And not only that, I also wanted to make friends, and social media is Instagram is the perfect place to make friends, new friends, and to learn, to get inspired from other photographers as you. And from there, I started to get a lot of feedback, and people started getting to know me. And a funny story, actually. This was about 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I think. Um, I There was a festival here in the Faroe Islands in summer. It's called G Festival, very famous. And I met a guy. He stopped me and he said, "You're Saviour, right?" And I said, "Yes." Do we know each other? He said, "You don't know me, but I know you from Instagram and Facebook." And I was really surprised. And he told me very nice pictures. So since then, I was like really like putting more effort in social media, and because you get influenced, you influence people. And he told me that that's why I got to know about the Faroe Islands, because of your pictures. That's why I'm here today. So it was pretty cool to hear that. And nowadays, after these last 5 years, that's when I started to take it more serious. Now I do a lot of things with because of social media. For example, in 2019, the Faroe Islands tourism authorities, they made they said they made a marketing strategy that they said, okay, we're going to close the country for tourists, but we're going to open it for people that wants to help us build the tracks to the nice locations that we have. And they made a big marketing about it, and many news agencies like BBC and CNN and many other, Guardian, many others, they wanted to come to the Faroe Islands to document this. And they did come, and they BBC, when they came to the Faroe Islands, they wanted to work with a local photographer. And because I have been working before with the tourism authorities here, they sent him to me, this journalist. Now we are good friends, me and him. And I worked with him. We went a whole weekend to some places where I had to take pictures and document the work and the people that were working there. And by the way, the people that were here, they were like from all over the world. It was so extremely nice to see a lot of people. Yeah. So that was pretty cool to work for the BBC. What I did more, I did some magazines for the airline of the Faroe Islands, Atlantic Airways. They have a review magazine. This is my image. This was the 30th of June 2017. And this is when I was still like really into long exposure. So what I did here, I took it was totally no wind at all that evening. This was like 11:30 in the evening. And I put the camera on the tripod, and I had a shutter, the one that, from the phone, takes the picture. And I tried to stay still as much as possible for 30 seconds. So this was a 30-second exposure. And yeah. Then there was some images that I sold to the post office. These two. And this is for the tourism of the Faroe Islands. The guide that they make an issue every year. This one here. And they always buy they license a few images from me every year. And in 2017, people started like, can we buy your prints? And then I found, when I say many people, I say a few people, like 5, 6, and then but you get motivated to do it. So that's That's what I did. I just made a website with SmugMug, and it's very, I have the full subscription every year. I pay a few for it, but it works fine for me. So, and also when I have clients, I can put all the images on my website, and I know when they take them and when they take them when I have to close it. So I don't use much WeTransfer or Google Drop or whatever you call them these days. So I know where all my images are, the full size images. And this one here is the image that you see in the background. So it can be very big. And this is with a drone, with the first drone, a top down of a wave. Stephen, I can't. I don't know what I.
Yes, yes, it's showing, Xavier.
Okay, because I can't see you. I removed the so I could see all.
Yes,
the
yes, yes, but we're here. We're here.
Okay, okay, good. So this year, no, sorry, last year, I decided to make a calendar also. Many people asked me for it, and I decided to do it. And my strategy to do it was with I wanted to involve the followers from Instagram. So I told them I want to do a calendar. Some of you asked me, and I want to do it. And I told them, what size shall I do? Do you want me to do an A4 or an A3? And many of them said A3, then A4. So I made an A3 calendar. And then I involved them in choosing the images for every month. The only image that I chose is the first one here. This one for the main cover. The rest they made it. When I launched it, I made 200 copies, and I was afraid that I was gonna be with much left, but I have only 5 left now. So it went really good this year, and I'm very happy for that. Then I do guiding, private photo tours, and one-on-one photo workshops right now. A company from Norway came and I showed them around for a whole day. We visited a lot of locations for one day. Couple photo shoots. I don't do so much of them, but it was integrated with a guiding, kind of a guided tour. So I just had to take a picture, of them, some pictures of them when they were at these locations. So, and this one here, it was my first ever guide that I did, and a private photo shoot actually. It was a guy from Brazil. He wanted to come here for a whole week, and he wanted me to show him around, to guide him around. So I, it was no problem for him to pay me what I asked for, and we did it. I took a whole week off from work, and it was fun. It was really fun. We tried many things. We explored a lot. We walked a lot, and we took even the helicopter. Here on the Faroe Islands, at this time of year, well, it is all year round, but mostly in winter time. To get, for example, to Mykonos Island, to the Puffin Island, you have to take the helicopter now, and when you take the helicopter, like for example, if you go today, you can't take the same helicopter back, like in just a few hours. You have to stay there for 3 hours, and there are many islands that are like that in winter time. And that's of course because of it's too there is no people that wanna sail because it's too there are too much waves and so on. Private photo workshops and excursions. This is the most famous excursion that I did, and not only with me, there are many others that do it. The Seastag Drankarnir. This is a 2.5-hour hike to get to see this viewpoint. It's over here. It's not a very hard hike. Mostly it's like only like close to the ocean, almost all the way. The last 30 minutes you have to go a bit up, and then you walk a bit, and it's kind of a bit sideways. So you need to be careful if it's too wet, or depends what the weather, how the weather is. But in summertime and in wintertime, it just has to be very good weather to do it in wintertime. You can go by boat. So I know the farmer that owns the land over here, and we do trips with photographers, and many choose. I tell them it's a normal hike. You save 2 hours and a half of hiking if you do it by boat. By boat, it takes only 15 minutes. It's not like you turn one way and you can take a lot of pictures. So it's better to take the boat, cost a bit more, but you save a lot of time when you're here, so you can go some other place. And in summertime, we go also between the sea stack, Trancarnier, and we also go behind the same island in some caves. And the caves are pretty big, like Blue Grotto times 3. So what I did more, I really like documenting the Faroese culture. And these are two examples. On the right side, it's an event that they do every September. It's the village, the farmers of the village called Chotnowig. These are the two sea stacks here, so you get an idea where we are. And these farmers, they take care of a stack, a sea. It's not a sea stack. It's a bit bigger than a sea stack. So I don't know what you call it exactly, but let's say it's a sea stack. They put sheep on there every year in May, and they go get it in September. To go on the other side, you need to take a cable cart. I don't know if you see it here. You take a cable cart, and you go on this sea stack. Instead of going alone, these farmers, they make an event every year, and a lot of people go. When I went to document this event, we were around 130 people, if I remember correctly. And we go there, we go on the other side, and first we eat when we come there, and they explain us what we're gonna do, because we have to help them to make like a barrier for the sheep, so they don't go everywhere. Huh? And at that time, I think they were like 8 sheep in all, so they weren't so much. But it was very tricky to get them. So, but when they catch them, they put them on the cable cart again, and we go back to the village. The village is down here, and this takes to get to the sea stack from the village. It takes about an hour or so. No, sorry, 2 hours. So we had like I think we used like 5 hours to go back and forward. When we come back to the village, they make an auction for the sheep to sell it, and you can buy it alive or dead. And if you want it dead, they can slaughter it here and now. And after that, they make like a dance in their hall that they have on there, like to close the event. And that's of course was before Corona and all that started. The one on the left side, it's a New Year celebration on Vagar. Vaje is the name of the village on Suru Island. And to get on Suru Island, you need to take a ferry, and the ferry takes 2 hours to get there. So of course, when you go there, you need to sleep there at the time of the year, because it doesn't go many times back and forward to Toroshan, the ship, the ferry that sails. And this one, of course, is on the 31st of December. People prepare like the boat, the Viking boat. They prepared it like from a few weeks before. And they put like a lot of stuff here, and like the dragon head and all this, and the torches people meet in the morning on the 31st December, and they make the torches ready for the evening. And in the evening, they turn them on with fire and they walk. They go like into a gate, and the gate says 2021 to 2022, and they walk in, and that's like in the midnight, and they go around the boat. They sing a song, and then they throw the torches in the boat. And after that, they will put the big fireworks in the end. And after half an hour, everything is finished. This year, for example, I was lucky. Well, the ones that you're seeing now, these are from 2019, before the corona hit, and the head was here. This year, we were many people. It was there wasn't so many restrictions about corona together for the midnight celebrations. But this year they hit the head of the boat, so it broke from here somewhere. And so there were many photographers that came all the way from Italy and from some other countries that they didn't get to capture this image. So they were a bit unlucky with that. But they got many nice photos also. Yeah, this year in September, I'm gonna make my first ever photo group. Like everything, I fix everything myself, and I'm thinking to do it in September. And there are these few locations that we will visit, and some of them also, some more, of course. So that's my. And of course, if you want to see more of these images, they are all on my website under blog. You will see more. And more information, of course, about this will come later this year. So if any one of you is interested, you can sign up for the newsletter and choose the photo tour, and you will get updated when I do more. How to get to the Faroe Islands? The main way is Denmark. Billund, Denmark is the cheapest. I am coming to Malta in July, and we go to Billund. We sleep one night in Billund, and we take the early flight around 9 o'clock in the morning with Ryanair to Malta. That's the cheapest flight I could find. I did it also many years to fly to Copenhagen because Norwegian and SAS, Scandinavian Airlines, they had a route all the way to Malta, but it was more expensive now. So Ryanair is the cheapest. I know there are many things with Ryanair, but it's the cheapest. So it's just a 3 hour and a half flight, 3 hour and 15 minutes. So it's gonna be okay. Oh yeah, and in summertime there are more distances. If you wanna check to come over here, better to go to Atlantic Airways, the main flying company of the Faroe Islands. Check with it first, because in summertime, and of course when Corona stops more, they will go to more destinations. Like, for example, I also flew to Stansted, England, and then I took a bus to Heathrow, if you want to get a bit cheaper. And then we flew with Air Malta there. They fly also to Bergen, to Norway, and to France, to Paris also. So you better to check with here, and then you see from where you can fly from Malta. When is the best time to visit the Faroe Islands, and for how long? I always I got this question thousands of times on Instagram, and I ended up doing an article, a blog post, just because people they continue asking me. And this is the blog post on. Also, you will find it there on my website. Why for 10 days, and why I say summertime? Two things. You have more light, during the day. It's like the sun rises at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it goes down at 11:30 in the evening, and it doesn't get dark if you go if you come end of May until the beginning of August. That's how it is. So if you are coming literally to take pictures and to get as much as possible to be productive, then that's the perfect time to come. And of course, the weather is more stable in the summertime. It can also be, due to fog, you can't see anything. So the you want to see the puffins, but it's cancelled because you can't. It's windy or too much waves. It can happen, but you have more time to say, okay, today it's windy, I can't go there, but in 2 days it's supposed to be better weather, so I go then. So that's it, guys. Thanks for listening to me. I hope you got a lot of information from me, and if you have any question, I would be happy to answer.
Well done, Saviour. I told you, because he was very worried about timing. He asked me how many slides I need to prepare. I told him normally it's about 60, 70 to be on the safe side. But he told me I have only 40, 45, but most of the slides were correct. So I met him on Monday. We had a long chat. I asked him a lot of questions. So now it's your turn. I'm not going to ask him again. You were fantastic, Saviour. You were clear. I'm sure that the audience got a very good idea of the Faroe Islands. Now I leave the audience to put up the questions. We have Alexander. I will open your mic, Alexander. You can speak.
Hi, first of all, thank you. Very interesting talk. I was very intrigued by your presentation. You showed and you're very obviously fond of the aurora behind you. When is the best time to shoot it? I mean, any time of the year or a specific time?
Sorry, wait a minute. My son is calling me, and I need to switch it off for now. I call him right back after. The image behind me, that is taken on February 2019. I think it was the 18th of February. The
aurora, you can shoot it at that time only February, or you come on May. You can see it as well.
In May, no. In May you can't see it. Oh, sorry, guys. My son is calling me, and
Answer, Saviour, answer. No problem, answer. I'll unmute you. I unmute you, Saviour, so that you can answer the call. Until Saviour answers the call. Let me remind you that next week we have another international. Saviour, you're trying to speak? You are muted.
hello.
Okay.
Okay. Now I told him.
Okay.
Yes.
So the question, Saviour, was when is the best time to photograph the aurora?
Okay. So I have experienced. It starts at mid. I saw the aurora from mid-September until mid-April. But the most active solar storms, they are in October and in February, March. So if you are coming for the aurora, your best conditions will be in October and February and March. But like I told you, I saw them sometimes in November, but mostly active they are in October, February, and March.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions? There are most of the participants tonight, Saviour, are writing words of praise. You had roughly around 50 attendees, 44 here, and there were also on our Facebook page. So a round of applause to you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. It was really nice to do this. This is the first time for me to do it with Maltese audience. So
Are there any more questions so that we call it a night before? Let me. You can unmute yourselves.
I can see a question here. Do you have a Windy subscription or just the free one you use? It's the free one I use. I know that you make a subscription and it will get updated more often, but I don't use that. I don't need it actually. And a reason why I don't do that, because I know on the news here, on the Faroese news, they said that now they have their own weather. Before they use the Danish weather system, now they have their own weather to check it. So, and I know that they are working on an app, and I will probably buy that one because it will be the most accurate for the Faroe Islands. So that's why I will not buy the subscription for the Windy app.
Other questions? It looks you did well.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Saviour. Hope we'll meet someday. Maybe I wish to come to the Faroes, but since you're coming in July here, I invite you to send us a message and we will meet. Maybe,
Yeah.
although at that time we are not meeting because as I told you last Monday, we have the summer recess between July and August. May I remind everyone that next week we have another interesting webinar given by RX Rebnik, who is a Polish underwater professional photographer, and also John Borch, a Maltese underwater professional photographer, who are going to give us a talk, a different talk, the underworld photography from boats. So I invite you to join us today week, same time, same place. For now, thanks and good night.
Good night.
Ciao. Ciao.
Bye bye.
Ciao, prost.
Thank you.